Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 5. You made it, the final week. Today, I'm just going to be talking about a little bit of stuff from last week, and then along with your final projects, and I'm just going to be showing you one quick thing. So, yeah, today should be pretty quick. You can get in and out of here. I know a lot of you might be studying for midterms, me too. So, yeah, let's just dive into it. So I'm just going to be talking real quick about material properties because I didn't cover that last week. Um, so yeah, this is going to be a lot about like materials for 3D printing. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of different materials that FDM printing can print. They're mostly like plastics, but like you can't even print metals. But there's a lot of drawbacks and advantages to each material. A lot of it's mostly like a strength or flexibility thing along with cost. So usually as strength goes up, your cost will also go up. So yeah, one of the most common kinds of filament that you'll hear is PLA, and it's actually like this biodegradable plastic made from corn. But it's really easy to print, which is really nice. You can make really like nice models, but its drawbacks is that it's kind of brittle sometimes, and it has a low melting point. So it's not the strongest material, but it's a very popular material for people to print just because it's very easy. And if you just have like a desk toy or something, PLA is like totally fine for that. ABS is another popular filament. It's not as popular anymore because of other materials that have come out, but ABS is very common in injection molding. So I don't know if you know about Nerf blasters. I think I talked about this last week, but those are all made out of ABS. So it's a very strong plastic. It prints at a fairly high temperature. So it's nice and strong, and it doesn't really warp very easily. Well, it warps like after it warps while printing, but after it's cooled, it's very hard to like break. If that makes sense. Um,
No, actually, it couldn't do because it has to melt. My bad.
yeah, they all melt, but it's just it has a higher melting point. So if you leave it in a car, it's not gonna like
No, I mean,
deform.
like, does it have a? You said it warps while printing. Does it
Oh,
warp more while
it
printing?
warps during the cooling process. So it's a little bit harder to print just because of like the way it warps. It like shrinks a lot more than other filaments, so it makes it harder to print. But yeah, also it's like the fumes when you print aren't really good for you, so don't like smell it. Yeah. This is my personal favorite filament. It's PETG, and I find that it's a nice balance between like the strength of ABS and the ease of printing that comes with PLA. Um, it's a little bit more flexible than PLA, so it tends to have like better mechanical properties. It could take a little bit more impact without breaking. Yeah, it's also pretty easy to print. It just strings a little bit more, prints at slightly higher temperatures, so it's less susceptible to warpage after printing. But the problem with it is it's very susceptible to moisture. So when you print on with PTG and you leave it in a very damp environment, like Indiana is like fairly humid, right? So the plastic will absorb the moisture, and when you print it, it will kind of like boil through the nozzle, and it will have like print defects. So the surface finish won't be as good, but as long as you keep the filament really dry with like silica packets and stuff like that, then you should be fine.
Does it absorb moisture after it's been printed as well?
It does, but it doesn't matter as much because you're not really like using it to make something because it's already
No, but, like,
been
that
made.
doesn't change the shape or in any way. Like,
Not really. I mean, like when it absorbs the moisture, you can't tell until you print it because then it just bubbles. You'll see that a lot of these filaments will absorb moisture. Yeah, TPU is a very interesting filament. It's very flexible, so it's almost like a rubbery kind of filament. It's a little bit harder to print because it's so flexible, but it's pretty cool because you can use it to make like 3D printed joints and stuff like that if that's what you're into. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
if you were making like the tires on like the Lego car.
Yeah, if you wanted to make like tires, like people printed like TPU tires for their like RC car, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I've never used it, but I want to, maybe at some point. Nylon is a very cool filament. This is now kind of approaching more like industrial level filaments. I don't know if you've heard of nylon, but it's a very strong material. It's typically more expensive than all the other materials I've talked about earlier, but it's very strong, right? It has high strength and high flexibility, a lot of these mechanical properties that we want. Again, it's susceptible to moisture, so you have to be aware of that and make sure it's nice and dry before printing. But yeah, that's nylon. Polycarbonate is kind of similar to nylon. It's another very strong material. These, as you can see, these print temperatures are starting to creep up into the 300s. So these are not typically printable on like your Ender 3 or something like that, but they're very strong, right? So polycarbonate is what they use to make bulletproof glass. So yeah, it's strong. Yeah, again, susceptible to moisture and very high print temperatures. But yeah, it's very nice. And yeah, here's like kind of a chart with all of them like next to each other. So you can see they all have slightly different properties. So material choice is sometimes important depending on your application. So yeah, it's just kind of good to keep these in mind. I won't go too deep into it, but yeah, lots of different materials, and it's nice to choose based on your application. Oh, I forgot to insert the photo. Anyways, here are some places that you can go to print at Purdue. So Purdue has a lot of 3D printers and resources for all students. So there's printers at Walk, at BIDC, in the ME building. If some of you are ME students, is a 3D printing space somewhere in Noy. I forgot to put it in. It might be the 3D printing club. I don't remember. But you can also reach out to your fellow students because a lot of them will also have printers like me and Aaron. So if you need things printed, we can do it too. Yeah, so that's just kind of it for like the 3D printing stuff. Now we're going to be going into wrapping up this course with rendering. So by this point, I really hope that you know how to model stuff because your final project is due 1 week from now. But when you have your final model, you might want to make it nice, right? So if you want to present your design to some company or something like that, you'll often see people render their things. So if you see like commercials for like phones and stuff like that, it's not the actual phone. It's like a computer render of that object, and then it looks really nice and professional. So we're going to teach you how to render your models today. Yeah, so again, this is your final project. I've talked about it many times already. Some of you have already finished it, which is great. I'm going to open the submission for it hopefully soon. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to send it in the chat or whatever, and I can help clear up any confusions you might have. But yeah, so assignment 10, which is your last assignment besides the final project, is going to be to render like a model, right? So I suggest you use the Lego car because that's what I'm going to be using today, but you can choose anything that we've done in this class so far, or if you have some random part, you can do that too. The point is, we're just going to teach you how to do it. It's going to be nice and easy. So I would pull up your Lego cars first, and then we'll get to the rendering. So over here, you can see I made this Lego car. It's blue and yellow. And, it is colored, right? So this model looks kind of good, but it doesn't look as professional as you might see in like those commercials, right? Basically what rendering is going to make a super high quality image of your model. And then yeah, it just looks really nice. And you can like have backgrounds and stuff. So to start rendering, over here in the top left, there's this big design button. If you click on this, you can see there's a bunch of different things, right? So Fusion 360 is pretty cool because it has many other functions than just CAD, and some of it includes rendering, right? So over here, you can see the render button. I'm just going to click on this. Oh, did I not send it? Oops. Oh, yeah, check your email. Sorry. Your email like shared you like the folder. I forgot to tell you. It's if you click on the top left, if you click design. You should probably do it on your laptop because it's
email loads back from my phone. Check if I got it or not.
Yeah, you might want to check your junk email because sometimes Fusion sends it to your junk. If not, then you can choose another model. Doesn't matter that much. Okay, cool. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. But yeah, so you see in this render section, it's loading in an environment, and now you can see there's like shadows and stuff. So it's starting to give you like a preliminary rendering of your object, but right now we have no background, right? So what we can do is we can add a canvas, right? Shit, I forget. Oops, I pressed render. Okay, yeah, so you saw it got really pixelated, but basically this is going to give you a preliminary render, right? So if you click up here, this little play button, it basically like creates like pixels, and then it creates even more pixels over time. So the longer like you sit here, you'll see like the more detailed your render is. And if you like move it around, you can see like it gets really blurry again, but then it starts to render, and then it becomes really nice. Oh yeah, your computer might cry, so be aware of that. Yeah. Okay, so right now it has a really plain background, right? But we might want to add something nice behind it. So you can right click over here. Oh, I already opened it. But it'll give you like environment settings. Can I close this? Maybe. Oh yeah. So if you right click, you can click on scene settings, and then it should like pop up like this. And then you can go under environment library, right? So over here, there's a couple like generic backgrounds that you can choose from, like this plaza over here. Just gonna double click on that. Hello, computer. And it will allow you to like choose different backgrounds, right? So there's a bunch of backgrounds over here. I've also sent a link in resources if you want to find even more backgrounds. So this website is pretty cool because it gives you a bunch of like options on other backgrounds that you can choose from, and they're all like very high quality images. So when you go to render it, it will look very nice. Well, for rendering, you want very high quality so it looks nice. I'm not sure why my computer isn't spawning the plaza. That's strange. Oh, here. Sorry. So if you go into settings, you should change it from solid color to environment, and then it will change. But yeah, you can like zoom in and zoom out and kind of like place your object where you would like it to be in the background. So, you know, this kind of looks cool. It's like sitting in the plaza, right? So yeah, that's basically how you kind of get the scene set up. I'm gonna zoom in on this. But yeah, so this button over here that I showed you earlier, it basically gives you like a preliminary rendering using your computer's processing power. So your computer probably sounds like an airplane right now, but what the cool thing about Fusion and its cloud-based system is you can um, send your model out to their server and they will render it for you, right? So rendering takes a lot of processing power, and laptops sometimes aren't powerful enough, or if they are, they'll just like take forever. So what Fusion will has a service that allows you to render things, and because we're students, uh, we can get renderings for free, which is really cool. So over here, when you find that like the position you like, so let's say I'm a big fan of this like angle of this Lego car, I want to render it and make a final render, right? I'm going to click this teapot over here, and then it will give me like different options, right? So there's like a local render, which is using your computer, or the cloud render. So the cloud render is what we want to use because we're going to send it out to Fusion, and then they're going to render it for us. So there's different like qualities of your renderings that you can choose from. I think okay, maybe mine's broken because it says I'm on the free trial, but you should be able to render it using Fusion's cloud services. So like what you want to do, I believe it's just like standard and then render. Can I see your computer? Oh, yeah, okay. Because it says I'm on a free trial, it doesn't let me do it. But what you can do is you can click final, and I believe it's unlimited. Yeah, yeah. This is cool. So you can click final, and then you can click render, and then it will send the data out to Fusion, and then it will send it back to you when it's done. So you see over here, it gives like an estimate of around 20 minutes. So if you want to do that now, it will render it for you. Yeah. So, my estimated battery life went from like 29 minutes to 1 hour and 44 minutes on stop. Right. I'm trying to get. Well, the background is very so when you try that,
Why is it so grainy? Why is it doing? No, like look, it's like you can see individual pixels. It's still rendering. Is it doing that? No, it's like it's grainy. Like, yeah, because it's not that rendering. Like, oh, oops. Oh, yeah. Oh, in Infinity War, it's getting better. Oh, wasn't that from like? What was that for? Oh, no, it was just a while ago. Like, oh, lens. It's on the pool. It's on the what? It was when we were there. Where did you get the tickets? Slide a bit closer. Okay. This is so So, once it finishes rendering, you can download the render, and it's basically just like a very high quality image. And then output it. Yeah. I don't think it matters. Yeah. Just whatever Google Forms will take. What is it doing when it's rendering so long? Like, what's actually happening? So, like, my understanding is that it basically makes it takes your part, right, and it takes a pixel and it cuts those pixels into smaller pixels, and it does that an infinite number of times. That's why the iterations are longer each time. Yeah, so so that's why whenever you move your rendering, right, it gets super blurred, right? But then once you stop moving and it starts to process, then it makes each pixel more fine, if that makes sense. So that's why it takes a lot of processing power, because the higher the quality you want, the more time it takes. Which is why Fusion is cool, because you can tell another computer to do it instead of having your laptop do it for an hour. Yeah. So if you have a super beefy desktop, then you could just do it. But because a lot of us are students and we CAD on laptops, this is a really nice feature to have. But obviously mine doesn't work because I'm on the free trial. What's it called? Computer labs just open for students. Yeah, I mean, my understanding is you can CAD on some of the lab computers in Walk, but I don't know if they have Fusion. I know they have NX. Fusion? Okay, that sucks. Yeah. I mean, I personally just CAD everything on my laptop just because it's nice and portable. Yeah. But if you want more power, sorry, I don't actually don't really know. Not being bored, get a better laptop. I mean, honestly, my laptop's not even it doesn't even have a dedicated GPU, and it's fine. It has integrated graphics, and it works okay. Yeah. Someone told me you need one with dedicated if you're going to do anything. I would recommend that, unless you want to wait a long time. But again, I don't really render that much. I mostly just CAD, so it's fine. But rendering will take time if you don't have a GPU. Okay, yeah. Yeah, what do you want to take an hour? But yeah, that's basically, yeah, that's it for today. So, yeah, thank you so much for the past 5 weeks. All of you have been amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better group of students. Yeah, thank you for coming. Your final project, if you didn't hear earlier, is due 1 week from now. But if you're having problems, please just let me know and we can figure something out. I'm pretty lenient, but please don't take advantage of that. Yeah, I'm going to be teaching this class again when we come back from fall break. So
Yeah. Yeah, you can take this class again. I'm probably gonna do all the grading over the break. So I know a lot of you have been asking me about grades and stuff. I will be sending them out, and if there's something that you are not satisfied with, then we can talk and we can figure something out. But yeah, I don't know. School's been a bit crazy for the past few weeks, and I've been not grading things, and I'm sorry, but I'll do it over break. Um, I'm guessing since everyone is here, you all did well. So yeah, remember it's like 70% pass. So yeah, you're good. Even if you like,
pass fail, right?
yeah. So this is a pass fail course, so you won't be getting a letter grade from me. You're just gonna be getting an email saying, "Yay, you did well and you passed." Also regarding certificates, uh, if you do pass, you will receive a certificate, but the process takes forever, and it's unfortunately out of my hands. So I taught this class over the summer, and the people are still waiting for their certificates. They actually asked me about it today. So don't freak out if you don't get your certificate right away, because what happens is I have to send it to like my milestones representative, and then he sends it to someone else, and then that person sends it to another person to like make them for some reason, even though it's like digital. I wish I could make them and just give it to you, but I guess I'm not allowed to. So yeah,